Have you ever met someone new in Korea and, trying to be friendly, you ask their age or their job, only to get this kind of awkward silence? Well, today, we're diving into exactly that, how to navigate those first conversations to build real connections, not invisible walls. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about this key Korean term, hoguyosa. In Korea, asking these personal questions is often just a sign of friendly interest. It's a way to figure out where you fit in. But, and this is a big but, for a lot of foreigners, it can feel like a total barrier, like a surprise interrogation when all you wanted to do was say hello. So, here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with what we're calling the friendly interrogation. Then, we'll get super specific about questions you might want to avoid and exactly why they can backfire. After that, we're going to switch gears and get positive, exploring the art of asking what we call sweet questions. We'll even level up for business situations. And we'll wrap it all up with the main idea, aiming for connection, not just collecting information. All right, so let's jump right into that first moment, the one we're calling the friendly interrogation. Look, the intention is almost always good. It really does come from a place of wanting to connect and show you're interested. But the impact? That can be totally different. It can create this sense of discomfort, making the other person feel like they're being put on the spot instead of just being welcomed into a nice, easy chat. So what are these questions that can feel like they're crossing a line? Let's get really specific about it. We actually looked at survey data from 100 foreigners living in Korea, and honestly, the results are pretty fascinating. The number one most uncomfortable question, with a huge 42%, it wasn't about money or marriage, it was about food. Can you eat spicy food? Do you like kimchi? For a lot of people, hearing this all the time makes them feel like they're still seen as an outsider, even if they've called Korea home for years. So, building on that, here are 7 key areas you probably want to steer clear of when you first meet someone. Things like relationship status and money are considered really private in a lot of cultures. Comments about age or looks can be misread so easily. And asking when someone's leaving, it can accidentally make them feel like just a temporary guest, not like a real part of the community. This right here is a perfect example of that cultural gap. In Korea, telling someone they look young is a top-tier compliment. But in a global context, especially in business, it can come across as you seem inexperienced or even a little immature. It's just a classic case of a super well-meaning comment getting totally lost in translation. So why does this happen? Really getting the cultural why behind it is the absolute key to avoiding these communication traps. It really boils down to this. Traditional Korean culture is very community-focused, so personal info like age is pretty important for establishing a social hierarchy and figuring out how to talk to someone respectfully. But in many other cultures where individualism and privacy are the big values, these questions can feel like a major invasion of privacy. It's all about your skills and what you've done, not just a number. And it's really important to say that this isn't just a Korea versus the world thing. The mindset inside Korea is changing too. Younger generations, in particular, are moving away from that traditional top-down hierarchy. They're embracing a more horizontal, kind of global style of communication that's based on mutual respect and what you have in common, not just on age. All right, that's enough about what not to do. Let's flip this around and talk about the fun part, the art of asking sweet questions that actually build amazing connections. This is the big question, isn't it? If all the usual icebreakers are kind of off the table, what's left? How do you actually get to know somebody? Oh, there's so much. Instead of their profile, ask about their passions and what they've been up to. Talk about favorite K-delivery foods, cool cafes they've found, or even those amazing convenience store food hacks. These are fun, modern topics that build a real connection through shared experiences here in Korea. And yeah, the famous MBTI talk, totally a safe and actually really popular way to talk about personality in Korea today. A great conversation shouldn't feel like an interview. It should feel more like a game of tennis. So just remember these 3 simple steps. First, repeat what they said to show you were really listening. Second, react with some genuine enthusiasm. And third, always return the ball by asking a question back. This simple little flow makes the other person feel so heard and valued. Okay, let's raise the stakes a bit. How do we apply all of this to a professional setting where, first impressions are absolutely critical? At a business dinner, the lines are even clearer. Just avoid all the personal stuff, marriage, money, and especially age. Instead, you want to focus on safe professional ground. Talk about the shared vision for a project, maybe their hobbies, or even just the nice weather. The goal is to keep the focus on respect and professionalism. And this brings us to a really powerful swap. If you need to understand someone's level of experience, don't ask for their age, ask about their journey. A simple, "How long have you been in this industry?" shows that you respect their professional experience, which is way more relevant than their age in a global business setting.
And all of this really brings us to the single most important takeaway from our whole chat today.
Just let that sink in for a second. The goal isn't to collect data on someone, their age, their job, their marital status. The goal is to share a moment, to find some common ground, and to build a little bridge of mutual understanding. See them as a person, not a profile. So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. Think about the next new person you meet. What's one question you can ask that has absolutely nothing to do with their personal data, but has everything to do with who they are and what they love? Because that is where real connection begins.